Welcome to Sit Down with the Superintendent, presented by GCHS TV. Join us as we welcome Greenup County Superintendent Tracy Moracey to our roundtable discussion hosted by GCHS students. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Smith and Noah Smith.
And we are in another episode of Sit Down with the Superintendent.
We'd like to welcome our guest, Ms. Tracy Moracey, Greenup County Superintendent, and to welcome her to our show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
And I've always had this on my mind. Have you ever thought about year-round schooling? And I was wanting to know, how would it affect snow days?
Actually, there has been a lot of research about year-round schooling, and they even tried it down in Ashland for a little while with just a pilot school. One of the elementaries tried it, and the test scores actually dropped. So, which, you know, I'm not completely about test scores, but we do want you to achieve well. But one of the things that you come across is family vacations, but for some people, it might really work. But it tends to work better in more warmer climates. So, because you guys are pretty anxious to get to your summers.
Right.
So, I don't think people enjoy going in the summer.
For sure not. What is the goal you try to achieve every day?
I work really hard to get to a school every day because I think that's important to get out in the schools and see kids, see what you're doing. So you guys helped me accomplish my task today, so thank you. And I think it's very important to really work on making sure somebody who works directly for me gets a compliment of some sort as to what I think they're doing a good job at. So.
What is the number one thing that our school will be focused on over the course of the next year or so?
I think you've heard me speak before about our strategic plan that we're working on. I just sat down with, and this is hot off the press, I just sat down with the superintendent in Russell to try to see if we can do any kind of co-teaching programs so that we can up the rigor of amount of dual credit and AP that we can provide. And the same thing for them with our CTE. So those are a couple of things that we're going to work on coming up, so I'm excited about that. And then basically a lot of facilities. Got a lot of plans.
What is one reason you decided to become a superintendent?
If you ever visit my office, you will see there are two kids, like ginormous picture of two kids behind me, and that would be my daughter and my son. And whenever you start realizing that things are going to happen differently in the district and whoever takes over is going to be the person that oversees, you know, it could be somebody who's very minded towards kids or it could be somebody who's not. And I wanted to make sure that we were headed in the right direction. So I went ahead and stepped up, and so far, so good. Right. We're surviving, right?
Right.
Okay, all right.
I've been wondering, do you think new technologies that students have used has hindered or helped students overall?
Well, this technology here has been amazing for you guys. Right. I'll be honest, I have no idea what you're doing in here, and usually I can follow things pretty well. I used to be a technology teacher at one point, so all of this really, I'm very pro technology. Sometimes it can be a distraction, like these sometimes can be a distraction for us, and especially when you are smarter than the teacher in the room that doesn't understand the technology. Right. It can be a problem, but for the most part, I think it can really enhance things. Greenup's known as a district that really does embrace technology, so we're well known for it. And I think it's something we can hang our hat on. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
What is something as students do you think that we can improve on at GCHS?
Okay, so I always offer this request up. I would love to see more community service from our students, and not even necessarily out into the community, some service on campus. Right. Here's a call for help. One of my requests is this summer, if I can get students to come out and help me get the playgrounds in better shape at each school. That would be something. I would love that. There's a couple of schools that just really could use just somebody to come and help seal in the mulch, you know, right. Spread it out, that type of thing. I think that would be something I'd love to see happen. So if we could get a community effort going on that, that'd be great.
For sure.
In your opinion, what is Greenup County's biggest strength and what is our biggest hurdle we face?
Biggest hurdle? Economics. That's our biggest hurdle. We don't have a very large tax base. We don't have a lot of jobs. So often you guys do a great job in high school, and then you go to college and you realize that coming back is difficult. because you want to come back for family, but you don't necessarily have a job here. So that is a big hurdle for us to get the job market opened up a little more. Biggest strength, I think we are a family-based community. That's really important. You don't see that everywhere. I don't know if I've ever said it to you guys, but I don't believe I've ever opened my own door to come into this school. There's always somebody. If somebody's ahead of me, they open the door and hold it, just mannerly, and we still have a sense of community and kindness. That's not everywhere you go, which means our biggest asset would be our people. Our people are the biggest asset.
I got a question about, is there any more news about the Superintendent Student Council?
Yes, we had our first meeting on Wednesday, and we kind of did some teamwork, grouped up together, did a little bit of a get to know you type of thing, because I think it's important if they're going to work as a team.
Right.
Definitely get to know you. And then they have generated a list. I think we were up to 21 different initiatives.
Wow.
So I'm going to send out a Google document for them and let them vote on the top 3 things that they want to tackle for the remainder of the year.
Right.
So they had several things that you guys have asked me about before. So.
I've heard students talk about how they don't get enough sleep because of school, and I was wondering, have you ever thought about starting at a later time, like for example, a 9 to 4 day?
Actually, that is research-based as well, and that's actually very good for kids. So I'm not opposed to it. It would be just changing the adults about it would be a bigger problem than for the kids.
Right.
Because you have people who need to get themselves to work. If they're driving their kid, that makes it difficult.
For sure.
So it would be a lot of change for adults, more so for kids. Your other thing you have to look at is your extracurricular activities and when game times start, what time you have to be there, when does the bus have to pull out. A lot of logistics. But to say that it's a terrible idea, absolutely not.
I got a question about snow days. Do you expect any more of them, or rain days?
I don't know. Talk to Tony Cavalier.
Yeah, right.
I have no idea. I will tell you that a lot of my days begin at 3 a.m. with text messages about roads. They end at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night with more text messages about roads.
Right.
So we work really hard. My goal is to always call it the night before. That's what I really want to do. So if you haven't heard from me at night on Twitter, there's a good chance you're going to school tomorrow, so set your alarm, okay? Just because I think it's difficult for parents to have to try to rearrange their scheduled mornings, so I like to call a little early, and I also get nervous about you guys in your cars hitting the road. I think that's important to think about. It's not just buses, it's student drivers and our staff. So with snow days, it's flurrying out here right now. So if you haven't checked on social media, we posted that there will be some alternate routes. Some buses will be taking some alternate routes. There are a couple of areas near Cardinal Point, some different places, and we even have a couple of school vehicles that are not buses, like vans and SUVs that are going to take a couple of kids home. So we will not chance it. We'll make sure that you're getting home safely.
Right.
Okay.
I was wondering, do you think there's a difference in student success based on how their parents are involved?
Yes, I just read a meme, which, you know, you can always believe a meme on social media, right? It's going to be truthful. I did read something, though, about, you know, you can look at a kid's ACT score and then talk to the parents. They've done a survey to see how many parents read to their child. And it's the #1 predictor of student success is, did your parents sit down and read with you? So parents, I know you want your kids to do well on the ACT, and you probably talk to them often about the money involved and that type of thing. So just remember, you've got some parts to do too. So.
How do you feel about the future of Greenham County High School and the Greenham County in general?
I think the future is very bright.
For sure.
We have some really good people, and I really some opportunities, and I've sat in several meetings this week where some pretty amazing ideas have came out as to things that our administrators are thinking about that they would like to see happen. And I'm one who will take, you know, just like what you were talking about with, you know, weird calendars or different times and different things. I'll listen. You know, we'll take it in, we'll listen, we'll talk about it, and if it's feasible and it's going to help kids, which in turn will help our community, we'll give it a try. We'll try it one place and see if it works, and if it gets better, then we'll do it somewhere else. So.
All right.
Do you think the constant access to technology is affecting students to stay focused, or do you think it's helping?
I think it's affecting my ability to stay focused. I don't know about you guys. I've noticed that my short-term memory is not what it used to be. However, I really am not for sure about how much lack of attention it gets. We just have to re-teach ourselves on instructions in the classroom and turning these into tools instead of distractions.
Right. Do you have a favorite program here at GCHS, like drama or GCHS TV?
Drama, GCHS TV, FFA. I really enjoy our sports and athletic competitions. So there are a lot of different ones. I think, did we have a viewer that has a question about NTI days? Is that what I'm seeing? When you're old, you could read really far away but not up close.
Right.
Okay. NTI days, is that the question you have coming in? Okay, NTI days are something that we have to get pre-approved the year before. In the last legislative session, NTI days were discontinued and we can no longer apply for those. Now, we have a whole new governor, legislative system, and somebody could put that bill out there where that we can reapply for them. If that's the case, the only barrier in Greenup County to do that is, do our students have access to computers at home to be able to fully complete the tasks that we would be sending? So that's when you would have to look at, you know, are we going to start sending Chromebooks home? What are we going to do? So there's a lot of, again, I hate to keep saying the word logistics, but there's a lot of that involved. So was that the only other one they had for me?
I think so.
Okay. See, we answer your questions when you ask. How about that? That's full service. Okay.
Well, if you have an idea for the show or a question you would like to panel to Ms. Moracy, use the link at the bottom of the screen to submit your question. This will do it for this week's show. Join us next week for another sit down with Ms. Moracy right here at GCH TV. For the entire GCH TV crew and Ms. Moracy, I'm Ben Smith.
And I'm Noah Smith.
Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.
Thanks. Happy Valentine's Day.